What is up, guys? Now, before you get knee-deep into the following video, I've got one massive favour to ask you guys first. Now, if you didn't know, I'm a part of the Boro Breakdown podcast, where me and three other absolute legends discuss all things Boro every single week. And for the third year running, we've been shortlisted in the final of the Football Content Awards. Last year, not only did we make the final, but we won the Bronze Award and were officially awarded as the third best EFL podcast in the country. And this year, we've been shortlisted once again. So this is how you vote. Simply go to the Football Content Awards website, which is footballcontentawards.com/voting, and in the list of categories, simply select Best Club Content Creator, and then in the Football League section, select the Boro Breakdown podcast. Once you have done, scroll all the way down to the bottom, tick the T's and C's, click Vote Now, and your vote is in. It would be massively appreciated for us if we could pick up another award and maybe go one step further this year. So a huge thank you to everyone who maybe possibly voted for us to get shortlisted into the final in the first place. But if we could have one more push to hopefully win another award, it would mean the world to us. So yeah, get voting and hopefully we can come back with another award for the Boro. So in the last 4 games, Boro beat West Brom, one of the best teams in the league at that time, find a way of losing to Watford and Bristol City, and then beat Sheffield United, who are one of the best teams in the league at the moment. I mean, are we even surprised at this point? What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Project Boro, the reviewing show where we, of course, look back at every single Boro game here on the channel. And should we even be surprised at this point that Boro, when facing one of the top big teams in the division, decide to turn up and decide to put in a brilliant performance and pick up the 3 points in probably the best possible way? You know, if you could have picked a goal scorer, if you could have picked a time to score, if you could have picked a scoreline, if you could have written the script for the best possible way this game could have unfolded for Boro, it probably was something like this. Boro beat Sheffield United, whose torrid time down at the Riverside continues, their awful record at the Riverside goes on, and we also get one over Chris Wilder, which I can't lie, feels absolutely fantastic.
I need to ask you.
No, you don't need to ask me. You don't need to ask me.
I was going to ask you a little bit.
Okay. You don't need to ask me.
So it's
you don't need to ask
nothing.
Me.
So into the game then, and this was kind of the sort of game I thought it would be. You know, the first half was a chess match. You know, it was two very good teams trying to break the other down, trying to get through. And there wasn't really much in the first half at all. I think what surprised me from, well, the first 20 minutes, 25 minutes you could say, was that Sheffield United had more of the ball. They had more of the ball. They're not a team that are known for possession, but they had more of the ball. Boro seemed quite happy to allow Sheffield United to have possession in the first half. But they weren't really doing anything with it. You know, as we've seen many, many times this season, Boro's defence, for the most part, other than moments of madness, has been extremely solid and has limited the opposition to barely anything, and it was exactly the same in the first half. You know, for all the possession Sheffield United had, Boro were happy to allow them to have it, and they didn't really hurt Boro all that much from their own doing. But you won't be surprised to hear the one big chance that came Sheffield United's way came, as we've came to see and came to know, it was from a Boro error. Finn Azaz give the ball away in the middle of the pitch, just inside our own half, and suddenly they were in down our left with Borges put up, of course, and Raksaki gets a shot away. I was right behind it in the north stand, and I thought for all money he was putting it in to the bottom corner, and we were going to see the same old story once again. But credit to Luke Ayling, who come across, anticipated where the ball would be, and he made a fantastic goal line clearance. And for once, Boro got away with an error and were not punished. And like all games, that was pretty much all Sheffield United mustered. They had one attempt, I think. Callum O'Hare had a shot cutting in from the left-hand side in the first half that was comfortably saved by Sonny Dieng. But other than that, there wasn't much in it for both sides. You know, Boro had a few half chances. McGree tested the goalkeeper from range. There was a bit of a scramble from another opportunity, which they managed to get away before Tommy Conway could latch onto it. But first half was just, two very evenly matched teams failing to break down the other. Sheffield United had more of the earlier stages, I would say. They looked the better side in the first half an hour. They'd settled quicker. They looked sharper on the ball. Boro didn't start great. You know, we just looked a little bit off it. Passes were going astray. Players didn't seem to be on the same wavelength. But we grew into the first half and I think finished the stronger of the two. But there was nothing to separate either side in the first half. And as we went into the second, you just knew if there was going to be a winner, it would be decided by just one single goal, one moment of brilliance, one clinical bit of quality, either way. And to be honest, I didn't know which way it was going to go, but naturally with how Boro have fluffed chances, you do start to worry that if one team's going to get a chance and take it, it would be Sheffield United, because we've seen them do it so often this season. You know, I said this in preview video I did, the preview show a couple of days ago. They're not renowned, they're not a very strong attacking team in this league. What they're good at is defending well, and they defended brilliantly in this game, but taking an opportunity when it comes, and they didn't on this occasion. So it was all about whether Boro would create that one opportunity, because as I thought we would do, we still managed to carve open and create opportunities against this Sheffield United team. You know, we had numerous efforts in the second half. McGree tested the goalkeeper, Ben Doak tested the goalkeeper, but they weren't massive gilt-edged chances, you could say. Morris, I think, put one over as well from just inside the area. And Sheffield United did have another huge moment, and it was a cross. I thought he should have had a shot. I don't know if it was Raksaki or Brewster, I can't recall. But yeah, they played the ball in down the left-hand side, and he opts to cross it, which, you know, would have been right on the toes of the player coming in, and George Edmondson was positioned absolutely perfectly. You know, he's just such a great defender. He just does all the basics of what a defender should do perfectly. And like Luke Ayling in the first half, his anticipation for where the ball was going to land was absolutely spot on. And he gets across, and he just clears the bar with what was an outstanding clearance to prevent a tap in. Just really, really good defending. But I would say Boro edged the second half. I thought we were the better team in the second half. You know, we just looked that little bit more threatening. I think we really nullified Sheffield United. They pretty much chucked on 5 subs in an attempt to try and get going, and Boro just looked comfortable. You know, I think we kind of sussed them out. I wouldn't say I was disappointed with Sheffield United offensively, because I wasn't expecting all that much, but yeah, they just didn't really pose much of a threat. Dieng had a few, easy saves to make with shots that were sort of straight at him, but Kiefer Moore didn't offer much up front, or Hare didn't really get into the game all that much. I think their biggest threats come from either side with Brewster and Raksaki, but they were just trying to, play along diagonals behind our fullbacks, getting in behind that way. And although, their wingers did give our fullbacks a torrid time at times, I wouldn't ever say we looked like we were right under it. Especially second half, we just seemed happy to allow Sheffield United to sort of horseshoe it around the box without ever really hurting us. I think it was more a question of, could Boro actually find that one moment? And I turned to Johnny midway through the second half, and I said to him, this game's there for us if we can just for once find that moment. And for once, we actually did. And what makes a change is, unlike other games where it took 3 or 4 big gilt-edged chances to either miss and not get the win, or finally put one away, in this game we had one big moment. And I would say, other than that, we didn't really have a really big moment. There was plenty of times in that second half where we broke on Sheffield United, where it was 4-on-3, 4-on-4, and we always kept making the wrong pass. The decision-making again was questionable at times, and Ben Doak kept beating their fullback and pulling balls into the box, and none of them would fall to a red shirt. And you're just thinking, is it going to be another one of them where, for all the possession, all the opportunities in and around their box, we still can't find a goal? And then Latte Lath come on, and I remember when he come on for Conway thinking it's a bit late in the game this. I think it was 74, 75 minutes, and I thought there's not much time for Latte Lath to make a difference. But when the lineup dropped and I noticed that one of the big changes he'd made was Lath out for Conway, you do think it's set up for Latte Lath to come on and score the winner. And that's what you want, when your big player, your big goal scorer who hasn't scored in 9 games or whatever it was, is finally dropped. And, we were calling for it. Michael Carrick, to be fair, made the changes I think we were all wanting. He did make the call, a bold call, to drop your number 9. You're thinking, right, what do I want from this? I want Latte Lath to, respond and react to being dropped. And the ideal scenario would be for him to come on late in the game and score the winner. And that's exactly what happened. Boro played the ball down the right, some brilliant football between Hackney and Dork and Azaz. And Finn Azaz, it was one of them where he's expected to create, so a lot of the time he'll try things that don't quite work. And first half, his passing and his touch was a little bit off. But I've said many times, I think there still needs to be more goals from Finn Azaz, but you can't knock him creatively. He's put some really big chances on a plate for our forwards this season, and all he can do is give them chances. It's up to them to finish, and he's only as good as the striker in front of him from a creative point of view. And this time he got what he deserved, and so did Latte Lath. It was a wonderful cross from Finn Azaz, an outstanding ball, and thank heavens, God, he's needed it. Arguably, he's deserved it. He's had some really big chances at times that have been really well saved. You think of the header that was saved at West Brom. There were other opportunities where the goalkeepers pulled off some really big saves. Latte Lath finally gets the goal he has desperately needed. We've desperately needed. And it's the perfect scenario. He comes off the bench, puts away a wonderful header, and it's the winning goal. And the perfect scenario. You couldn't, if you'd have asked all Boro fans prior to the game when they looked at the lineup, right, how do you want this game to go? I think 9 out of 10 would have said Latte Lath comes on, gets the winner, and it was a brilliant take from him. And the only way to sum up Latte Lath, and I've said this, we've said it on the breakdown, I think it's clear to see he is a striker who just thrives on instinct. We've seen him when he's been played through 1v1. If he's given too much time to do something, if he has to stop, take a few touches, think about where he's going to place the ball, he'll probably do it wrong. He'll probably make the wrong decision and fluff it. However, we've seen it last year. If he just has to make that one decisive, instinctive moment, whether it's a flick or a one-touch finish or a header, he's actually very good at doing that quick sort of reactive finish. And that's what it was here. He peeled off the centre-backs. He made a very good run. He timed it well. And it was a very well-placed header and finish. And that was all she wrote. Boro held on comfortably with a 1-0 win. And it's what we needed massively. It's what Lath, Azaz, I think the Boro fan base needed. The atmosphere was pouncing at the end at full time. Chance of Wilder, what's the score? I mean, it was great. We've not the Riverside's not been bouncing like it was in them final 10 minutes for a while, and you're hoping that's what we need. That's what the team needs. That's what Lath needs, Azaz needs, the home fans need, because last time when we had a big result like this, it was away from home at West Brom. I think to have this result at the Riverside is big for everybody, but there is a big but. And that is exactly like what I was saying a few weeks ago when we beat West Brom. This result is all well and good if we back it up. And we saw this a few weeks back. We beat West Brom. We were on top of the world. We thought, right, fantastic. Here we go. And then we follow it up with defeats to Watford and defeats to Bristol City. And that win suddenly becomes absolutely meaningless. So as great as this is in isolation, it means nothing. And I'm not getting excited. I'm not getting hopeful at all unless Boro find some consistency and back this up starting at the weekend away to Norwich, which will be incredibly difficult. If we fail to win there, I mean, a draw wouldn't be too bad in fairness, but if we were to lose there, then yeah, you're looking at this result and thinking, well, it was just another false dawn. It's all good winning one week and beating a good team, but if you then put in another typical Boro performance the following week where we dominate like we did against Watford, but find a way to capitulate and lose, then it's all for absolutely nothing, So, yeah, I'm going to praise this result individually. Absolutely, it's a great win for us, but as I say, pointless unless we back it up at the weekend. So a quick look at the Boro lineup then, because there are some real notable performances in here that I think will be useful to take forward for Boro. Defensively, as I say, solid again. We gave nothing away really, other than that first half chance that was cleared off the line. Dieng had a few saves to make in this game, more than his usual, 1 save per game, but they were mostly comfortable saves in fairness. I thought the defence was very solid. I think the fullbacks, Ayling maybe first half struggled a little bit, but they have really tricky wingers. I think in terms of dealing with Kiefer Moore, Callum O'Hare, absolutely fine. We didn't really have much of a threat from them, and of course Edmondson gets a lot of praise for that second half intervention, and Luke Ayling does for clearing off the line. One player I want to really just heap a bit of praise on though is Neto Borges. I thought he had his best game at left back for Boro, and I think he's settling well. Under the radar maybe. It's such a tough position to play at Boro left back, because the left back's expected to bomb on and really commit. And we've seen many times, we saw it against Preston, we saw it, a good couple of games back, we saw it against Sunderland. It's an area where teams can really target us. So left back, can sometimes be made to look worse just because of the system and what's expected of our left back. We've seen numerous really good left backs, suffer in this position. Hayden Coulson, Luke Thomas, Lucas Engel, maybe not Bangura. I think it's still too early to judge Bangura, but since Ryan Giles, it's been a position, it's a gaping hole that we've not been able to fill, and I'm not saying Neto Borges has quite done that yet, but tonight I thought he was very, very good. Defensively, he did really, really well, and one thing I've noticed about him that I really like is his ball carrying ability. There's a few highlights where he's not afraid to pick up the ball and run with it, and he's a decent ball carrier. There was one point second half where he literally picked it up just outside our box, and he carried it all the way pretty much on the edge of their box, and I think we won a corner. And I really like his confidence in his ball carrying, and I think that's something that's definitely improved, I think, as he's settled and gotten more confident in himself. So I'm starting to see positive signs by Neto Borges. I'd like to maybe see him have an impact on the game more offensively with more assists, because that's of course what we saw with Giles, and what I'd like to see more from him. But yeah, a good performance is best I'd say in a Boro shirt thus far. I thought the midfield too, Hackney and Morris, did what they do. They're a very good pairing, and thought they both did really well. And I expected them to do well. We did predict that potentially Sheffield United would play a young central midfield pair with Arblaster and Peck, and I thought that might be an area Boro could, really take control of, and I thought we did that. With them two, Hackney and Morris, I thought they were both brilliant. And the three behind the striker were absolutely fantastic. Ben Duck, still end product, more often than not, isn't quite there, but every time we gave him the ball, he just gave their fullback, he didn't give him a moment's rest. He was going left, he was going right. It's what I like about Ben Duck. He can go both ways, and he did put some good balls in at times. At times I think he smashes the ball a little bit too hard, and makes it impossible for a forward to get on the end of. But sometimes he puts some really good balls in, and they just have to fall for the forward, but he keeps getting at his fullback, he keeps beating him. He's such an exciting player, and I think once his final product improves, he could be an absolute game changer. Azaz, I thought again was pretty good. I think first half struggled a bit, but it's such a tough position he plays, and again a lot of what he does is judged on the forwards in front of him. And when he does, when Latte Lath does finish a chance like this, it gives Azaz the reward I think he deserves as well. It was a fantastic cross from him and a brilliant assist. And then once again, shock horror. Riley McGree starts, Middlesbrough Football Club win a football match. It's just too much of a coincidence. It's 4 games now. We started 4 games we've won. Riley McGree is the key to this team, to this system. I've said it time and time again. I think, the way he roams, he's just given a license to roam everywhere. He just has such a positive impact on the game and Boro as a whole. And I think the way he floats and roams around, I think it takes a bit of pressure off Finn Azaz to not just be that only creative player. And I think, as I said, in pre-season, the chemistry McGree and Azaz have is brilliant. Their understanding of one another is great. And when them two play together, I think they bring out the best in one another. And I just hope we can get McGree starting as many games as possible. Up front, Conway didn't have much opportunities, to be fair. He was played through by McGree second half, couldn't quite latch on to the end with what was a very good through ball, but he didn't ever really have a clear-cut opportunity, so you can't really judge Conway too much, but, Latte Lath's the one who comes on and steals the headlines, which was absolutely fantastic. We saw Howson, Jones and Clark come on, but that was the 89th minute, so not much to report on there. And a final look at the stats before we finish. Boro, got what they deserved. I think the possession we edged second half more so. They definitely had more of it first half. But as I say, without really doing much with it, they had 5 shots on target. Most of them, as I say, were pretty harmless. You look at their shot map, bottom left, there's not really a shot that close to goal that all, tested Senny Dieng all that much. Boro were the more threatening, as you can see once again, as all of our shot maps are. Red everywhere. Thankfully, one of them, the big chance, is the one that went in. So, look at the table then. As we finish, it has us 2 points off the playoffs, so the gap to the top 6 has closed up once again. You still think, the games we've thrown away, the points we've dropped, we'd be right up there, top 4, top 3, had we not dropped the points we have done this season. So it's still eating away a little bit as to where we could be. But yeah, the match against Norwich at the weekend is going to be a really big one. That they've scored a bucket load more than we have, but we're a much stronger defensive team. It's going to be interesting going to Carrow Road. It really, really is, and it's a chance for us to leapfrog them and potentially get ourselves into the playoffs. It feels like we've not been in the playoffs at all this season. We've been hovering outside. I'm hoping we can finally get in there, but we're there or thereabouts. It's all about, as I say, how we bounce back from this. Norwich up next. I'll be previewing that before the end of the week, so stick around for that with Coventry, Luton and QPR coming up. 3 games that are definitely more winnable given where them 3 teams are, but as I say, it would be typical of Boro to beat Norwich and then lose to Coventry and QPR, so it's the consistency that we're lacking, and that's what we need to do. We need to put a run of results together in the next 4 before the next international break. But as I say, I'll be back later in the week to preview the Norwich game, so stick around for the channel stick around on the channel for that. But until then, if you've enjoyed this video, hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and leave me a comment in the section below with your thoughts, whether you're a Boro fan, Blades fan, or otherwise. And if you're listening on the podcast provider, which you can do via the links in the description, give me a like, a rating, and a follow over there. But that's it for now. A big win for Boro, but it's all about if we can back it up. A big thank you for watching, guys. Chris Wilder, what's the score?
I need to ask you.
No, you don't need to ask me. You don't need to ask me.